Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitan Chena Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Shri Guru Vargandarva Govinda Gringanaisa Vande Pasharatolesham Sarvaramba Shubhankanaha. Okay, so we're continuing with Prapanna-jivanamritam, and we have reached this very wonderful verse. We're verse number 9 of the 5th chapter, Confidence in the Lord's Protection. And this is a verse spoken by Uddhava. It appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. And I haven't, gone through Bhagavatam, but I've heard that it is this particular expression, this Uddhava, he's in a mood of separation after Krishna has left the world. And in that mood, he's remembering Krishna with this deep intensity and appreciating his divine glories, and here in particular, his mercy. So Param Guru she highlights here, Sri Hari awards a divine destination to even his enemy. He takes care of everybody, even the people who are antagonistic to him. So this should give us confidence in the Lord's protective nature. Even any type of Krishna consciousness, even if it's based on fear, that is beneficial. That will give one a promotion. That is how merciful the Lord is. And so here a very extreme example of that is given. So Swashatravepi Sadgati Dayako Hari. Sri Hari awards a divine destination to even his enemy. Then this is the verse, so beautiful. Aho Bakiyam Sanakalakutam Jigham Saya Payayad Apyasadvi Devegatim Dachu Chitam Tatonyam Kamva Dayalam Sharanam Rajema. How astonishing when Putana, the wicked sister of Akasura, tried to kill child Krishna by offering him deadly poison on her breast. She reached a position befitting the Lord's nursemaid. Could I ever have as merciful a shelter as that Lord Krishna? So this story of Putana, she came in the guise of a nursemaid. You know this story, right? And she came to kill him. But Krishna, all he saw was that she wanted to nurse him. And so he gave her a position like that. So, Kamva Dayalam Sharanam Rajema. Who will I find who is more merciful than Krishna? To whom else can I go for shelter? Who will be more merciful than Krishna? It is impossible. Nobody. This is inconceivable. Who is inimical to him? He is giving shelter to them. Aho Bakiyam. This verse, Shuddha Prabhu, he liked this verse so much, and it made some impression on my heart because of that. Shuddha Prabhu would chant this verse. Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam Jigham Saya Payad Apyasadvi Lebegatin Dachu Chitam Tatonyam Kamva Dayalam Sharanam Rajema. And this verse, there's a very wonderful story with this verse in Gaura Leela. Gadadhar Pandit, of the Pancha Tattva, he had a very reserved and very simple nature, like very quiet, simple, reserved, very detached from the worldly affairs, and he was one of the devotees, Mukunda. He invited him one day. Oh, there's a new Vaishnav who's in Navadvip. A Vaishnav who you don't know, who he's visiting. Would you like to meet him? And Gadadhar Pandit, he was very happy to meet a Vaishnav he didn't know, so he said yes. And this is Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who he was from, I can't remember the name of the village, but he was from the same village as Mukunda. And so Mukunda knew him very well, and he knew what a great Vaishnav he was. However, Pundarik, he was also a wealthy man. And so he had, he had money, he had property, he lived comfortably. And to anyone looking at him would think, he's a materialistic person. Because he was, he mixed with the material things so much. But Mukunda knew him from being from the same village. So he knew he was a Vaishnava. And so he invited Gadadhar, come with me to meet this Pundarik Vijayanidhi. And so they went there. And Navadvip in those days, now when you go to Navadvip, that's not quite the same. But in those days, it was like a center of learning within India. And wealthy people would often have like by equation would be, you would equate with like a holiday home, You have your holiday home on the banks of the Ganges in Navadvip. So this Pundarik Vijayanidhi, he had his own home, and then he had like a place where he'd go to visit in Navadvip sometimes. So he was in town. And so Mukunda brought Gadadhar Pandit there to meet him. And when Gadadhar arrived there, he was completely shocked. He'd never seen a Vaishnava like this before. Like the way that Pundarik carried himself, like this very well-to-do man of the world. And there's a description in Chaitanya Bhagavat, I think it is, that he's reclining on the silken bed with all these fancy cushions and sheets, and he's dressed in this very opulent way, and he has a servant fanning him, and he's smoking a pipe. Also has some very and Gurudev even mentioned the name of the tobacco. Some very fine, very expensive tobacco he was smoking. And he had this long curling hair, well-oiled hair. And so when they came in, Gadadhar Pandit was completely astonished. What is this? I've never met a Vaishnava like this before. And so they came in, and Mukunda's greeting Pundarik and introducing Gadadhar, and there's some pleasantries being exchanged, and meanwhile Gadadhar is there feeling really uncomfortable, and he has this very simple nature, and Gadadhar is thinking, how can I get out of this situation? What am I doing here? And so Mukunda, he knows, what Gadadhar is thinking. And then Mukunda, he starts to chant this verse, knowing that it will evoke a particular sentiment in Pundarik Vijayanidhi. And Mukunda, he would sing very beautifully too. So Mukunda started to sing this verse, glorifying Krishna's merciful nature. And when Pundarik heard this verse, he became mad, with ecstasy. Just thinking, how merciful is Krishna, how kind, how loving. Kamvadayalam sharanam brajema. Who is more merciful? Where will we find a more merciful shelter than Krishna? And so Pundarik, he started tearing his hair, tearing his clothes, and in this ecstatic state, and chanting this line, Kamvadayalam sharanam brajema, Kamvadayalam sharanam brajema. And then Gadadhar, he could understand, this is a very great Vaishnava. I could not recognize him. And he ended up taking initiation because he thought, the Guru is like the father. And the father does not take the offenses of the son. So if I take initiation from him, then I will be excused in my offense. So he ended up taking initiation from Pundarik. Kamvadayalam sharanam brajema. Where will you find anyone more merciful than Krishna? So he is so kind. He will not extend some of that kindness to us. Persons who are consciously trying to approach him. His grace, his protection must be there.
That word Putana.
Putana.
Putana. because it's in Italian.
That's her name. Oh, is it an Italian word?
Yeah, so it could be from Latin, it's like, it means something dark, like a prostitute or sort of a...
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you see, Sanskrit's the mother of all languages, right? So
yeah, Latin and Sanskrit are really close.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's what the word Putana... It must come from that.
Something like a dark, this dark kind of creature.
I see. Wow. And a woman specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it could...
That's interesting.
Throw it at a guy, maybe. I don't know, but,
That's so interesting. Because that's her name, Putana, this evil witch. Interesting.
It is very... Yeah, he took the life out of her, didn't he?
Yeah, he sucked the life out of her, but then in her next birth, she was given a place in Vrindavan as one of his nursemaids. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Yogyanam apyashastalam. The reservoir of hope for even the unqualified. Drantasyanader apadihara niyasya mahato ihina chadoham nirpashur ashubhasyaspadam api dayasindo bando niravadika vatsalya jalades tavasmadam smadam gunaganam iti chami gatavi. And this is also, this is Jamunacharya. O sea of compassion, I am no better than a wicked animal on 2 feet, the most incorrigible parasite, a beginningless and endless reservoir of the greatest inauspiciousness. Nonetheless, I abide in fearlessness, repeatedly remembering the divine qualities of you, the endless ocean of affection, and the supreme friend. O sea of compassion, I am no better than a wicked animal on 2 feet, the most incorrigible parasite, a beginningless and endless reservoir of the greatest inauspiciousness. Nonetheless, I abide in fearlessness, repeatedly remembering the divine qualities of you, the endless ocean of affection, and the supreme friend. Asakrid apadidinam apimochakaha, the deliverer of even repeated offenders. Raghuvada yadabus tvam tajisho vayasasya pranata iti dayalor yasya chadyaisya Krishna pratibhavam apadador mukta sayujyadobor vada kim apanam agastasya testi shamaya. Also Jamunacharya. O Lord of the Raghu dynasty, so this is spoken to Ramachandra. O Lord of the Raghu dynasty, just for bowing his head to you, you were merciful upon that crow, who was so offensive that he clawed at the breast of Sita Devi. O charming Krishna, you awarded the salvation of merging into your effulgence, Sayuja Mukti, to Shishupal, who was an offender, birth after birth. Now please tell me, is there any offense that cannot be pardoned by you? Sharanagata helanam tasmin asambhavam. It is impossible for him to neglect his surrendered devotee. O Lord, after all, what unprecedented trials may befall me now? I can tolerate anything and everything. No doubt, unhappiness is my natural companion. Nonetheless, it will not become you to allow the neglect of your surrendered soul who now stands before you. O Lord, after all, what unprecedented trials may befall me now? I can tolerate anything and everything. No doubt, unhappiness is my natural companion. Nonetheless, it will not become you to allow the neglect of your surrendered soul who now stands before you. These are Janunacharya also. Vahir anyata pradarshaya topi sarupata palakatvam. He is our natural guardian, even if externally he shows otherwise. Nirasha kasyapi na tavar utsahe mahesha hatum tavapada pankajam rusha nirastupi shishu stanandayo najatu matush charano jihasati. O Almighty Lord, even if you make me hopeless, I can never leave your lotus feet in any condition. If the mother becomes angry and separates her child from her breast, does the child thereby leave the feet or shelter of his mother? And we were kind of touching on this yesterday. This feeling of intimacy that we want to develop, that even if we're being, we should get to that point where even if we feel like we're being rejected, we're not going. Even if I'm or as we were saying yesterday, I'm a mess, right? But that's your responsibility. I'm in your care. This very close, hearty, intimate type of feeling.
Yeah, it keeps putting it back to Krishna, saying it's not becoming of you not to accept me.
Yeah,
it's really
keep
putting it back. That's the
the
onus is on you to look after us.
Yeah. I'm reminded of this occasion with Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. He was a very dear godbrother of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he was actually a pure Vaishnava, but his nature was like a little independent. He liked the name. He liked Nam Bhajan. He had a connection with the holy name. And that was his thing. And he didn't like to be involved in any other service, really. He didn't like to be involved in preaching or missionary services. And so he eventually in his later years he would go from temple to temple, and sometimes he would stay in Vrindavan very, very simply, living in a cave or something like that, and then other times he would travel and visit his godbrothers, and so one time he would every year he'd spend some time, maybe a month or 2 months, in our mat in Navadvip visiting Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And so once he was doing that, but because he loved kirtan so much, and there's he was extraordinary in kirtan too. We have a few recordings of him, very extraordinary kirtan. Actually, that's how we got connected with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, because Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhir Goswami Maharaj, he had gone to our mat originally not to meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but because he'd heard about this Krishnadas Babaji and his extraordinary kirtan. And so he went to our mat to record Krishnadas Babaji in kirtan. But then when he got there, Krishnadas Babaji took him to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So he loved kirtan. He would do these all-night kirtans and especially on Ekadashi. But because he liked kirtan so much, he was attracted to any kirtan that was going on, and he wasn't bothered if it was like this Sahajiya kirtan, these people who will sing, but with showing all this fake emotion and all this stuff. He didn't if there was some sweet voice doing kirtan, he was attracted to that, and he was just living on this higher spiritual level, and he wasn't disturbed, about whether it was authentic or not, and he wasn't living in the consciousness of a mission and guiding people in the right direction. So for Saraswati Thakur, his whole consciousness was on preaching. and extending the real thing. So Srila Saraswati Thakur was so heavy about that kind of stuff. So anyhow, Krishnadas Babaji was staying in our mat with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he was going out for some period to join this Sahajiya Kirtan that was going on. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he could not tolerate that. Like as a disciple of Saraswati Thakur, knowing what Saraswati Thakur liked, knowing that this was it was not authentic kirtan, Srila Sridhar Maharaj could not tolerate that. And so he told Krishnadas Babaji, if I don't mind if you're going to that kirtan, that's your business. But if you're going to be staying in my mats, then please don't. At least while you're in my mat, don't do that. Because it's not acceptable for me. But Krishnadas Babaji, he kept doing it. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj told him, you got to get out. You can't stay here anymore. We need to represent the highest conception from here. Nobody staying in our mat can, go out like that. And so I'm sorry, you're going to have to go. So Krishnadas Babaji left. He went to Mayapur and he stayed with another godbrother there for, I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was just a few days. I'm not sure. But then he came back to our mat. and he went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, I thought I told you to go. I thought I told you to leave the mat. And he said, but you didn't say that I couldn't come back. So that's so beautiful, and we actually want to develop that feeling of intimacy with the higher Vaishnavas, towards the Lord, towards Gurudev, this type of closeness. Or like this example, wonderful example here, if the mother's fried with her baby and just taking the baby off her lap, baby's gonna climb right back onto the lap of the mother
more quickly.
More quickly. It's not like, that's it, I'm out of here. And it was Krishnadas Babaji, actually, he made this comment that how in families people tolerate all kinds of stuff amongst one another, like the type of insult that can go flying back and forth. But in the temple, you say one thing to somebody and they're gone, No, we want to develop that feeling, within our spiritual practicing life and within our, the family of we want to have that feeling of family with our godbrothers and god sisters. We want to extend that to others, and we want for that to be extended to us. Because it's sad, when there's this separateness, this separate consciousness, that's how all these divisions take place. Because I'm my party and you're your party, and that's it. We're not getting along, we're going to cut. But if you look at the model of a family, it's so helpful for us. We're all completely different, may not get along, but we're family, and that's a bond. That's an unbreakable bond. We're going to find some point on which we can harmonize. So like for ourselves, we're all united by the most powerful bond, love for Guru, love for Gurudev. So that should be the thing that ties us together, despite all of the differences, Bhakti Alita posted this very nice quote of Srila Sridhar Maharaj the other day, and he was talking about the polarity and then also the unity. There's both sides, So we want to find that point, where we can meet, and be together. To have that feeling, it's such an accommodating mood, And that's what we felt with Srila Gurudev, just accepting and acceptance. This is how you are, but we can accommodate that. We can accept that. We're not going to reject you now. There's that beautiful section in Shri Guru and His Grace where Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's saying that, if the teeth are biting the tongue, then what are you going to do? Are you going to cut the teeth out and throw the teeth away? You are one organic whole. You need to learn how you can work together in a harmonious. So many different parts, but able to come together and harmoniously work together. But I'm diverging here into a slightly different subject matter. But this feeling of, intimacy, family, it is so valuable in terms of our connection with Guru and Gauranga, in terms of our feelings towards others, other practitioners also. And now this next verse from the Skanda Purana. This Gurudev, he's quoted so many times. Very, very beautiful verse. Tad itarashaya bhavat tasgaivaika rakshakatvam. He is proven to be the only shelter, since there is actually no shelter but him. Bhumos kalita padanam bhumir eva valambanam tvai jata paradanam tvam eva sharanam prabho. For those who have stumbled and fallen upon the ground, that very ground is the only support by which they can arise once again. Likewise, for those who have offended you, O Lord, you alone are their only refuge. For those who have stumbled and fallen upon the ground, that very ground is the only support by which they can arise once again. Likewise, for those who have offended you, O Lord, you alone are their only refuge. That we want to come to that point of feeling there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go, and there's nothing else to do. No matter what's happened or what we're dealing with, there is nothing else. Nidashayanam evaikashaya, the only shelter for the shelterless. Vivrita vivida bade branti vegan agade balavati bhavapure majato me vidure asharana gana bando hakipa komudindo sakrita krita vilambam dehi hasta vilambam. Wow, this expression is so beautiful. Hasta means hand, like arm, and dehi is give, and avalamba means like support. Dehi hasta avalambam, like give me the support of your hand, or to put here, please just once now lend me your helping hand. Extend your hand to me. Akrita vilambam. So just once. Akrita vilambam.
Benediction moon, that's beautiful.
Yeah. I am drowning in some remote region of a fathomless, treacherous ocean, the vast sea of frustration, swept by the tide of hallucination. O friend of the shelterless, O benediction moon, please just once now lend me your helping hand. I am drowning in some remote region of a fathomless, treacherous ocean, the vast sea of frustration, swept by the tide of hallucination. O friend of the shelterless, O benediction moon, please just once now lend me your helping hand. Srila Rupa Goswami. Vilamba sahanasya bhaktasya tarakshana vishrabdatam. The devotee who needs immediate protection has full faith that the Lord will come to his aid. Ya Draupadi paritrane ya gajendrasya mokshane mayarte karunamurte sattvada kwa gata hare. O compassion incarnate, now I am in danger. O Lord Hari, where is that urgency you showed in delivering Draupadi and liberating Gajendra? spoken by Jagannath. I don't know what that is. So this like mood of expectancy is here. The Lord must come to help me. Rakshishyatiti vishvasasya prakasha maduryam. This is very beautiful, this verse. The revealed sweetness of confidence in the Lord's protection. Tamasira vir ivodyan bhajatam aplavanam plava eva chishitanam sadhu varshiva mega nidir eva nidananam tivra dukamayanam bishag eva kushalam nodatam ayati shodhi. Spoken by Draupadi. Srimati Draupadi. Like the sun ascending through the darkness, like a boat for the helplessly drowning, like a rain cloud of sweet waters for the parched, like a treasure for the impoverished, like a physician for the deadly afflicted, the Lord Sri Krishna is now coming to bless us with all good fortune. Like the sun ascending through the darkness, like a boat for the helplessly drowning, like a rain cloud of sweet waters for the parched, like a treasure for the impoverished, like a physician for the deadly afflicted. The Lord Sri Krishna is now coming to bless us with all good fortune. And we were talking about this a little yesterday. All of this is indicating, we will only feel the value of the Lord's grace according to the degree of necessity that's within our heart. Like if you actually have that necessity within your heart, then when you receive that grace, it will be in this type of way, with this intensity of appreciation, this type of desperation, like a boat for the helplessly drowning, like rain cloud of water for someone who's dying of thirst, like a doctor for the diseased. Like this is my very life air. This is the thing of my most dire necessity. And that's actually what we need to do. That's actually what we're doing, is cultivating the feeling of necessity. Because the thing is, that grace is coming to us all the time, but because we're in this dull consciousness, we're not really picking up on that. We've become desensitized. So that grace can come, but we're in this dull state of consciousness, and we're not really perceiving the value of that. That thing that we need the most may be right in front of us, or is right in front of us, but we're not able to pick up on that. We're not able to appreciate that. So that lolium, that hunger, that hankering, that is the most valuable property that we have in spiritual life. Not how many rounds you can chant, or how nicely you can do this, or how nicely you can do that, any of that, But how hungry are you actually? How much necessity do you feel in your heart for real Krishna consciousness, not the cover, not the show, not the cloth, not the activity, or any of these things, but that inner feeling of the heart, that inner raw feeling of the heart. That is it. That is Krishna consciousness. And, and Draupadi, who is this spoken by? It's spoken by Draupadi, She's being disrobed, for anyone, that's a humiliating thing. But for, a princess, in Vedic India, that is like a whole new level of humiliation, which I can't even conceive of. In a public assembly, that she's in that, and Krishna comes to her at that moment. But of course, ultimately the whole circumstance is an external thing. But that inner heart connection, devotion. Tad rakshakatve tat karunyam eva karanam. The cause of the Lord's protectiveness is His mercy alone. Not that He's obliged, duty-bound, or that we deserve it, but just that He's merciful. That's all, because He's nice. That's all. Not because we're worthy or because He's bound to do it for any reason. It is just His mercy. No other reason. Prachinanam bhajanam atulam dushkadam shinvato me nairashyena jvalati hridayam bhakti leshala sasya vishva drichim agahara tavakarnya karunya vichim ashabindukshitam idam upaityantare hanta shaityam. O destroyer of sin, my heart is averse to a trace of devotion, and it burns in the fire of hopelessness when I hear about the incomparable, formidable devotional services rendered by the great predecessor devotees. But now that I have heard about the wave of your mercy which floods the universe, the core of my heart, sprinkled by a drop of hope, is soothed with cooling relief once again. This is by Rupa Goswami. O destroyer of sin, my heart is averse to a trace of devotion, and it burns in the fire of hopelessness when I hear about the incomparable, formidable devotional services rendered by the great predecessor devotees. But now that I have heard about the wave of your mercy which floods the universe, the core of my heart, sprinkled by a drop of hope, is soothed with cooling relief once again. They're like so powerful, so heart-rending, so striking. These prayers, so intense. Bhagavata Shri Chaitanya Rupasya Param Adaryam. The supreme magnanimity of the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Dev. Ha hanta chitta bhuvi, this is Prabodhananda Saraswati. Ha hanta chitta bhuvi me paramosharayam shad bhakti kalpa lati kankarita katam syat hridyeka paramashvasaniyam asti Chaitanya nama kalayana kadapi shochya. Alas, alas, how will the charming, wish-fulfilling creeper of pure devotion ever sprout from the desperately barren plains of my consciousness? Despite my predicament, just one great hope awakens in my heart. By chanting the name of Sri Chaitanya Dev, nothing can remain to be lamented for by anyone at any time. So this verse and also the previous verse, they're highlighting this point that the point at which we want to feel the need for protection or the need for grace is in our own lack of development in Krishna consciousness. Like, that's where we need to be feeling the necessity of grace. Not in some particular circumstance in our lives, but how am I going to make progress spiritually? How am I going to receive grace? And receiving this good news. The Lord is so merciful. The Lord is kind. Despite my predicament, just one great hope awakens in my heart. By chanting the name of Sri Chaitanya Dev, nothing can remain to be lamented for by anyone at any time. Or in Rupa Goswami's verse, now that I've heard about the wave of your mercy which floods the universe, the core of my heart, sprinkled by a drop of hope, is soothed with cooling relief once again. To hear about the Lord's merciful nature, what a relief! There's hope for me. There's the there's the Justice Department, but then there's the Mercy Department. Go in that line. Sign up in the Department of Mercy. The other one's too risky. Shigora hade sarvapaya vihineshvapi rakshakatvam. Also Prabodhananda. Saraswati Thakur. Shigor Hari is the savior of even those bereft of any method of approach. Gyanadi Vartma Viruchim Rajanata Bhakti Vitim Naved Minacha Sadguruvo Milanti Ha Hanta Hanta Mamaka Sharanam Vimuda Godo Hadista Vanakarna Patam Gatosti. I know not the way of love in Sri Vrindavan, which breeds disloyalty to wisdom and the world. Nor do I come to meet with saintly teachers. To whom shall I surrender? Where shall I go? O foolish fellow, you cannot have heard about the Golden Lord, Shigora Mahaprabhu. I know not the way of love in Sri Vrindavan, which breeds disloyalty to wisdom and the world. Nor do I come to meet with saintly teachers. To whom shall I surrender? Where shall I go? O foolish fellow, you cannot have heard about the Golden Lord, Shigor Mahaprabhu. But for those who have no way, for those who have no hope, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His grace is there. So that's the end of the 5th chapter. Iti Shri Prapanna-jivanamritam Shri Bhakta Vachanam Ritantargato Rakshishititi Vishvasonama Panchamo Jaya. Thus ends the 5th chapter. Confidence in the Lord's protection. Words of nectar from the devotees and life nectar of the surrendered souls. Positive and progressive immortality. What time is it now? Can finish there, I think, today. Very hopeful, very heart-touching expressions for us to meditate upon. Such, and as we were discussing, these are all like living feelings in the hearts of these devotees. So just like to come within the proximity of these things, it's so purifying, and these things can touch our heart, touch our soul, give some life to our soul. Their grace, their goodwill is behind all of this. And then also coming through Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's presenting that. So this whole like channel of revelation is very powerful, and we're discussing these verses and everything, but just like to hear them with some faith, that's actually all that's required. That will affect us, that will purify us and enrich us. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 6. Confidence in the Lord's protection, Rakshisha Titi Vishvasa. And tomorrow we can begin with Goptrit Jevadanam, embracing the Lord's guardianship. Jai Shri Prapanna-jivanamritam ki Jai Shri Bhakti Rakshak Shri Hardev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ji ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati ki Jai Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanand.